The foam you guys can get at Harbor Freight. I don't know, in Ohio, it's a package of 4 like this is about $10 or $11. Or you can go to Walmart in the fitness section. It comes in rolls.
Is that like the same stuff that they make the yoga mats out of?
Today we're just going to actually just make some quick, simple bracers for your forearms. So as soon as some pins get here, what you're going to do is take your foam, put your arm to the bottom of the foam mat, right where the edges, where we'll cut off the edges, the little teeth part, we'll cut those off. Basically you just want to measure up how far you want your bracers to go. Some people, they want their bracers to actually cover some of their, like, kind of go like this over top of their hand. Some people like it right at the base of your wrist. It's all about preference of whatever you want to do. Go ahead and mark on there exactly where you want your bracer to be. Alright, so if you have your place marked, we're going to use this as your ruler. So now, what you want to do is, wherever you have your place marked, basically take it and draw a line straight across.
Something that I like to do when I know I'm going to paint over it is if I've measured something and we're going to start like getting width and all that, I always do the arrows to remind me later which end is up, because I will cut it and then I'll be like, crap. So it's always easier to overcut and trim. You can't make something bigger once it's cut, but you can cut it smaller. What you've done here, it won't wrap around your arm if you cut on those lines. And I'm actually, can I use your example? Another really quick example that we're going to use. So he marked side to side the width of his arm and laid it on there, and it matches his arm perfectly. Remember that these, if you want them to, will wrap around your arm. So when you're cutting the width, you need to add the extra space for it to wrap, unless you're gonna bind it and you want it to sit on top. So just keep that in mind.
If you notice your arm is not the same circumference all the way down from your forearm to your wrist. So you can do one of two things. You can either take the foam and actually, how can I put it?
Yep.
Draw a line so it will wrap just right around your forearm as it is, or if you want, which I'm lazy, I don't do that. Mine is like pretty much straight across, and I use straps. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want to use a strap method, you don't really have to do too much of measuring because you're going to be using straps. If you don't want straps and you want it to be a solid brace all the way around, that's when you're going to have to actually start to measure math your forearm to your wrist. If you really don't like the strap method, you can always just use another piece of thinner foam to put around it. You understand what I mean? Instead of straps, it would just be another piece of thinner foam around. It's all up to you if you want the straps or if you don't want straps. Personally, I always like straps.
I also like to use these little foam pieces for masks, like Harley's mask. And you can heat them and form them directly to the shape of your face. So they'll be made for you, and they're light, and you can glue them or you can strap. And you're gonna heat both sides when you're heating, just back and forth. You want to keep it pretty even. You don't want any, one corner to get overheated before the rest of it, and you're molding it. And then make sure you're gonna heat both sides of the foam.
How warm should it feel to the touch?
Pretty warm. It's more about how soft it feels.
Okay.
When the foam starts feeling softer, that's how you know it's ready to be molded. And so when it hardens, that's when it's going to hold its shape back.
I've worked with Warbler, but it's the first time with foam, so I'm taking this panel. I'm learning. The possibilities are endless.
Being a woman and making armor, one of the first things that I faced being difficult was a boob cup, because I didn't want a seam on it, and I didn't, you know, that's a hard shape to make out of a flat thing. So what I ended up doing is I got a circular lamp cover, one of the metal ones that you would see on top of the lamps like outside. So when you heat EVA foam, you can set that lamp cover down, or this kind of foam. You can press it on top and shape it around something like that. That way you've got the rounded shape, and then all it takes from there is just holding it up and cutting where you want your line to go. You can utilize a bra for that to make the right shape and line. So for women, that's a really great tip that I did. It also works for helmets. I got a lampshade that went up and down like a bell curve, and I made my shredder top of my helmet that way, where I got the bigger rounded edge, and then I could just flatten it out on the sides from there. So I made a cod piece that is the pull to open sign. What I did was I literally printed the pull to open sign out, layered it on top of the armor, and Mod Podged over it. So you can add really cool detailing by just printing something out and putting it on. And then you can do like, what I did is I just took acrylic paint around the edges to just kind of make it look a little more deteriorated and damaged. So things like that are really easy ways that you just wouldn't off the top of your head think to enhance your armor, because every time I think of armor, I'm like, what's the hardest way I could do this? So.
And note, this is water-based.
Yeah.
So if you mess it up, wash it off.
I usually overspray because, as you can see, it'll texturize it a little bit.
That is really cool.
But if you overspray it, it will smooth it back out. You might get a little runs, but you can sand it off and kind of.
Yeah, I've used the brush on plastic dip before. I made a lightsaber and I put like a PVC coating around it. And
Right.
I brushed it. Used the brush on.
Getting those brush
It's
strokes
really
out
cool.
are so hard. You see how smooth that is?
Yeah.
I like the
Very
aerosol because I, like Michael says, and like he is, extremely lazy.